don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello there. All right, just watched the movie Good News. Okay, now, this movie is anything but. It's basically more of a... Okay, it's just a comedy, I guess. Primarily a comedy. Yes, it does have some family elements. Yes, it does have some dark little bits. But it wasn't... the trailer made me believe that it was going to be darker than it was. Yes, it was a bit dark, but at the same time, it was more comedic than anything. So, apparently what happens is this family is struggling to have a child, and they get IVF in fetal whatever, where they put the sperm and egg together inside the mother so she can birth the child, where all the work is basically already done, but outside of her body. She just, well, grows it. All that other technical stuff happens outside in a lab. However, they swapped it, where two people with the same last name, they swapped the sperms. And it becomes, but it takes a while to get to that point. It was like 40, 50 minutes into the movie when they finally introduced that. It was primarily the husband who was reluctant to have a child because he was focusing on his career. He was not wanting to do it. He was like, not against the whole idea, but every time he saw kids, he just saw their problems. That was one thing that was kind of like a running gag. Every time the wife would look at kids, it was always like sweet, always heartfelt. And then she'd tell her husband, the second the husband looked over, the kids were throwing a tantrum. So he would always see them complaining, that he would look at his wife all awkwardly, because it's just like, you think that's beautiful? Because all he saw was them being problematic, yet she saw the loving side. So that was kind of very, very humorous. And yeah, it is funny throughout, but I was thinking it was going to literally lead to that point of the other family being a nuisance right away, but it took a while to get there. But it was actually well received, because as soon as it happens, it really happens fast, and then it becomes truly annoying. They're dealing with this other family that sees her child as their own, and it just gets strange because they're overbearing to the point where it's uncomfortable. And heck, you feel uncomfortable because it's just like they're literally barging into someone else's life. Not really being accepting, listening to them. So you see how they're a nuisance, how they can be seen as a nuisance. And I actually did enjoy that, because I was with the main characters, the main wife and main husband. I could sympathize with them. However, the heartfelt part was the fact that the main husband refused to acknowledge the child growing inside his wife as his own, because it wasn't his. It was this other man's product that was inside her. So it was kind of... It was difficult, because you could see that here this woman was dealing with it all on her own. Yet, the second family, the husband was caring for his wife, but also did care for the other woman who was carrying his child. It gets very awkward, very confusing, and it's just like, it does end on a happy note. And I literally thought it's just like, the best way to solve this problem is just to have these two kids wed, because technically they're not blood related. Technically they're not, and they would basically be living by being raised by their father-in-laws. They'd have their mother, but it'd be their father-in-law raising them. It's a very awkward family dynamic for sure, but it was just like, that would solve the entire problem. Of course, there's a sad thing that happens with one of the kids born early, and that's always a scary thing, because there are a lot of problems could come from that, risk of the child not. So they really do bring out the heart, of course. They have to. They bring out some darkness. They bring out, because the husband originally was trying to push for an abortion, because it wasn't his child. He just wanted to get it out. So I liked it. It was had plenty of humor moments. Honestly, one of the funniest moments for me was where he basically referenced himself from another movie, because he was the lead actor in Kasari, and he was basically telling one of his vendors, like when he was told there was a meeting going on, he's like, "Oh, just let them know I'm watching Kasari." It's like, dude, that was you in that film. Yeah. So every time they brought up slip dicks, I was like, that happened on the recording of Kasari, because He was doing all that flipping around, all that jumping around, you know, the baptism fighting type style. I was like, yeah, he could pull a disc in his back for sure. Yeah, very funny. It was what the pronunciation of the English language for sure when he was high was hilarious because he was laughing every time the other woman was pronouncing things wrong. So there were a lot of little comedic moments which really did add to the whole thing. Yeah, I enjoyed it for sure. Not as dark as I was expecting, but still well done humor for sure. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles!